Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the High School Sports Beat. I am Dave Yates, and it's time now for the High School Notebook. And once again, this year we are pleased to be joined by Matt Trabold. Matt, thanks for coming on board.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, let's talk, of course, a lot of gray, a lot of unknown, a lot of uncertainty, but the New York State Public High School Athletic Association comes out with their guidelines for how we can do sports this fall. What are your thoughts? What's your take on it?
Yeah, so 8 o'clock on the night of Friday, September 4th, those in Section 5 country, including us and in sections across the state, they got to dig their eyes finally into the long-awaited 41 pages of the quote-unquote, the title for it, Return to Interscholastic Athletics. And that's to see if New York high school sports would be able to return. That document was going to show, can stuff return amidst the coronavirus pandemic on that Governor Cuomo's proposed September 21st date from a few weeks back, and just as importantly, what the fall high school season would look like if it could come back September 21st. So this document mostly expanded a little bit on the already proposed plan of September 21st, like I said a second ago, for fall teams being able to start practice and play, and then a few days prior to that, this also kind of got into a little bit the previously announced delayed start of winter sports 2 weeks from November 16th to November 30th. So a vital part, and I tweeted about it, of these 40-plus pages was on page 3. It's NISFA saying it recognizes that the school district superintendents have the authority with these athletic programs, meaning whether high school sports will return September 21st or in January, etc., some other date possibly. So on September 3rd, I was at a rally of Greece student athletes and parents at Greece Odyssey, and that was their main concern. That point I just made a second ago. It was pretty expected amongst that group that NISFA was going to say that September 21st date was going to be the date. But then when the superintendents come together after the fact in response to that, and then in unison, which is the big part, in unison, across Section 5, and also say that September 21st date, because they have the final say at the end of this. They're a little bit above the NISFA, and even NISFA, like I was saying, has said that that is the case. So all in all, it's still a very fluid situation, as you can imagine with the pandemic.
It seems like everything has been with this pandemic, but what's your take on it? What's your thought on the how realistic it is to have high school athletics come back that September 21st date?
A lot of Section 5, maybe even a majority, at least the ones that have been vocal about it, have said September 21st, that's what we want. But who knows, in terms of the state as a whole with superintendents, what is going to happen. And it's that in unison aspect. And for me, I mean, I try to see it both ways. Like, I understand that there is a safety issue. I mean, this is a pandemic. We haven't seen something like this in a very long time, obviously, just as a country, as a world. But also, I mean, these kids really, and then mental health comes into it at that point as well. They really want to play. They feel very comfortable playing. That's a big part of the high school experience for student athletes.
And you think back about the kids in the fall that they lost out, and then you've got another group, or last spring I should say, they lose out on their senior season. Then you've got another group of students coming along who could be facing the same scenario. So yeah, it's really just a catch-22. You're kind of in trouble whichever way you cut it. Real quick, some sports that are going on. There was a basketball camp that just took place recently. A little talk about that.
But you can always count on the Iglesia basketball camp happening. It was the 16th installment of the Free Hoops camp put on by Section 5 championship coach Gerard Iglesia, his wife and the camp organizer Karen Iglesia, and their son and recent McQuaid star point guard Anthony Iglesia. So it looked a little different this time around compared to the first 15 due to COVID-19. It was the first ever outdoor version of the camp. Masks had to be worn on the courts. No scrimmaging was allowed, and the camp action for boys and girls, grades 4 through 12, was spread out over 8 days instead of obviously a smaller group of days where you can get more people in there, and that's to limit the amount of people on the courts. And as someone who covers Section 5 basketball closely, this camp has always been a supreme showcase of current and really what's very exciting about it, very eye-opening about it, is that future local high school hoop stardom, that aspect of it, like what's going to happen next year or the upcoming season after that. So I remember the first Iglesia camp I ever covered. It featured soon-to-be first-round NBA draft pick Isaiah Stewart. Before he was even a freshman, McQuaid, and one of the coaches was former Syracuse Orange star Brandon Trish. You got a couple current Siena players this year as the volunteer coaches, amongst a lot of other volunteer coaches, talking about Jalen Pickett and Jason Hawks, who used to play at Aquinas. So the camp is definitely a rockstar institution for sure, and I think it even grows because not a lot of other sports are going on, and this is a big great outlet for local, younger high school hoopers.
All right, awesome, Matt. Thanks as always, man. Great to have you along. You take care, okay, bud?
Thanks for having me on.
All right, we're back with more of the High School Sports Beat right after this.